Good morning to everyone on Facebook Live right now. I'm Nick Patterson. This is the Art of Encouragement. Unfortunately, Greg is not with us today. Mark is not with us, and Mark isn't feeling well. So, right now, just go ahead and send some prayers, send some well wishes all around the world to Mark so that he will feel better. And Greg, we're so proud of you. Greg's business is growing, and he's actually in the middle of a huge job right now. He said, Nick, there is no cell service here, and I will be in and out. So, that's okay. We wish Greg well as well. But today, I've got a new friend of mine. His name is John Street, and he hails from Alabama as well. So he is going to join us today. And I'm going to let him share more about himself and that sort of thing. But I just want to tell you why I reached out to John. We have some mutual friends and they would share his posts. And so I noticed, wow, this guy's positive. He's encouraging. And I just wanted to see those daily inspirational posts. So I requested him as a friend. And since then, I have just been encouraged. I've been inspired. I love the time when you're just spinning out on your pier and you're just talking to us. It's so nice. Number one, it reminds me of home. And as someone that grew up in Alabama, there's no place like Alabama. And number two, you reaffirm what we do here on the Art of Encouragement, John, because we can't live yesterday over today, right? We can't. But today is a gift, it's our present. And I love it when people call us to be mindful of our blessings. You're real big on counting your blessings. And that's a daily list. It's not just we were blessed 10 years ago, but right now we have blessings. And number two, we have a choice whether to remain stagnant, whether to remain in our hate, in our prejudice, in our just, I'm chained up by life, or we have the choice to break free, to own our parts of the past, to own today and make it not only a present, but a gift to us and those around us. John helps me do that when he encourages me. So, John, it's you. You're finally here. We've been talking about this for a long time.
We
What
have.
makes you want to inspire and encourage others, John? And then we'll go into your past and your background and all that.
Yeah.
It's my first question. Why do you do it, guy?
Oh my gosh. It's my passion. It is my passion.
Yeah.
Every single day I make new content. I started doing the content just within the last couple of months ago. I mean, I've done some positive content here and there for years, but every single day now for the last like 6 weeks, I've started just putting out something positive every day, whether it's creating a meme, whether it's, filming and putting out a video from my peer, like you mentioned, or from working with even AI to help create some positive videos. But I feel like my goal in life, I feel like my drive, my dreams, my passions are all rooted in encouraging people to find the things that give them life, find the things that give them passion. And so that's why I do it. My passion is to awaken other people's passion.
Excellent. And as far as passion goes, John, what do you see as a common passion people have? If you're encouraging a lot, what do you find that people need the most help with as you're just with your sage wisdom and advice, what are you doing there?
Oh my gosh. And I have a lot more sage when I'm not using just for men in my hair. There's a lot more gray for my wisdom, but you know what I find people need the most is understanding that their very nature is limitless, understanding that there is really nothing they cannot do. Like we are just so many times we're in a prison of our own making because of limiting beliefs. And those limiting beliefs go all the way back to childhood. And
Absolutely.
so when I'm talking to people one-on-one or when I'm talking to folks that are watching my content, I just want them to realize that they can get out of that prison. They have everything they need. They are totally equipped to live their dreams. They are totally equipped already to live their passions. God has given us everything we need in this very moment to be 100% authentic and live our dreams.
Absolutely. And I love that you bring in the word authenticity. Authenticity is it's where it's at. We've seen these template cookie cutter people our entire lives, and we give ourselves, these goals and these ideals that we believe these people have. And John, one of the things I've noticed, especially as I've encountered more celebrities recently on my path, is it's all smoke and mirrors. None of those people have it together the way we expect them to. None of them have it together. And it's an image. And I think they're worshiping the same image and ideal that we see. They want to so be that superhero to people, but sometimes the door shuts, right? And the real person comes out, and that is not what we see on the screen. It's not what we see on social media. And to provide people a place, a safe place to be themselves and to be authentic, I think it's the very root of encouragement, if not the art.
Mhm.
So, John, tell me, what do you do for your? I know, I already know, but will you share our with our listeners and our guests today what you do for a living? Because he doesn't just go around and make content and try to encourage people. He actually has a cool profession, and it's a profession most of us will encounter at some point in our lives.
Exactly. So I wear several hats. I've worked for a long time in sales and sales management as a sales director, but I'm also a realtor, and I help folks find their homes. And then I work with a lot of investors, helping people build wealth through buying investment properties and things like that. And then I also have an investment company as well with real estate. Um, and so all of that is very it's very successful. I'm very thankful for that. And it's taken tons of work and all this hard work to do it. But what's interesting is that now I feel such a pull toward this passion of being encouraging and sharing that content that I mean, I'm really focusing on now building. I'm working on a website that should be launched a week from today, actually, and started writing my first book as well. And I'm
Yeah.
just so in love with using my voice now that I feel like the season on some of those other things is kind of setting, and this is the new season. This is where I'm at now, and I love it. Back in the day, and I say back in the day, so back from 2012 through 2019, we had a ministry called Radical Hope Ministries, and in 2016 launched a church called Radical Hope Church, and we kept the church going till just before COVID and had some just dramatic losses in our family. My husband's mom passed away. My dad passed away. It was just a time where we just had to come together and concentrate on getting through it and healing. And so when we stopped the church, I thought I was done using my voice. I was like, you know what? I'm like, thank you, God, that I had that season. And so for about 5 years, I just concentrated on building these businesses. And then within the last year or so, it just started to come back a little spark here and a spark there and a spark there. And then finally, I just surrendered. I'm like, God, whatever you have for me, I want it. And once I surrendered, that spark became a flame and it just ignited my passions for this. And so, So yeah, I'm excited to see what this season has for me as well.
When you mentioned writing a book, what can you give us just a little insight now, not on the finished product, okay? Because we will enjoy that at that time. But right now, as you're just thinking through that, that's something Mark and I do is we work with budding authors and keynote speakers, helping them prepare almost their branded message in a variety of formats. So right where you are. So just using some of those tools since we don't have anyone else here. What are your initial thoughts around the scope of a big publication? It's your first book, right?
It
You
is.
want to get everything out all at once, right?
Exactly.
So so that
Well,
so
I'd
what
say the type of book is kind of helpful with that. So you mentioned me doing videos from the pier.
yes.
So my one of my video series that I post, a few of these every week, is called Words from the Lake. And so it's encouragement sitting in front of the lake behind our home, which I'm so unbelievably thankful for and blessed for this lake. It is my Zen happy place. And so I filmed those videos and I started to have this thought of what if somebody had a 365-day guide to this? And I started to envision this book that would just be called Words from the Lake, a 365-day guide to mindful motivation. So
Mm,
it's not just motivating and it's not just a devotion and it's not just mindful, but it's all of that together to inspire someone to start their day, to make sure they're living in the present, igniting their passion. So yeah, so the whole scope around this has been right now, working on the outline, writing each and every daily, motivation and some of these are, really helpful when I'm filming content too, because I'm writing these.
right.
But yeah, and the time frame, I would obviously we're coming into the fall. I would love to say it'll be out in time for Christmas, but it may be out in time for Christmas of 2025 because I'm just flowing in the timing of when it's supposed to come out. And
Yes.
that's when it will be out. I can't wait to see the finished product myself.
And that's the way to approach it. It's not to rush it. It's not to do anything but to enjoy the process, to engage and to be deliberate. I think as we're intentional, as we're deliberate, we know what to cull from just this book, right? And
Hmm.
what to include in another book. And sometimes that, I believe, is the inspiration to keep going after the first. Right after Mark and I released The Art of Encouragement, 3 weeks later, I released quietly another book. And
Like,
I did, and it's ranked up there now in consumer guides. It's called Late Start Strong Finish, the adult's guide to learning the piano. And because that's my passion and my heart, I learned from the process. And so while we were doing it collectively, I was taking what we were doing and individually writing my own book just so I could really learn from our collective process because we had about five cooks in the kitchen for the publication of our book, the art of encouragement. And then I was doing a solo chef version of the piano book, but I just wanted to show myself I can do it too.
mhm.
And I did. And to see people, I got recently my phone dinged and I had a deposit from Amazon. And I'm like, what's this from? And it was the book that I wrote. It wasn't a lot, but it was so cool that what I considered a learning experience, which is why I didn't publish it far and wide. It was just my attempt, and there are things I learned I would do differently. But sometimes those moments of inspiration we have like that, just like these businesses you've built, John, I dare say that although the season may be setting there, the effects will still be felt because of those investments being just that. There's that ongoing income, and I'm that's fantastic for you that you did what you said. You said I worked hard. I love it when people own that. Oh, it was easy. It was a piece of cake. No, it wasn't. I got in, I worked hard, I did what I had to do. I have 17 businesses now. And at the heart of it, what you're inspired to do is help and encourage others. Like,
Mhm.
let you want to help them start their 17 businesses, it sounds like. So
Exactly.
what is encouragement outside of writing and content creating? How would you be able to take your message and your platform? Let's say that sun is setting on those days. How would you be able to take that, scale it,
Mhm.
maybe developing a keynote speech, develop
Exactly.
like what's your goal there, buddy?
You hit the nail on the head, really. I guess I call it vision casting, when I just allow myself to envision where I'm going, what I'm doing, where my passions are taking me, and I lean into that. And I see myself speaking. I see myself on a TEDx stage, which kudos to you for being a TEDx speaker. And I see myself, speaking to large organizations and retreats and things like that. Like in an authentically me way, like not trying to emulate someone else, but bringing John Street to the table, because I can't be Tony Robbins and I can't be Oprah Winfrey, but I love the reach that they have. And
Yeah.
so it's just taking myself authentically to be speaking to someone. So when it comes to inspirational and public speaking, that's a huge part of where I see myself going. When it comes to writing, of course, like you mentioned, and the content, that's a huge part. I just think there are so many ways now in 2024 to reach people that we never could before, all around the world in new and creative ways. And that's what I want to tap into and be a part of that.
You can. I tell you, you can. You've got the right heart and you've got the perseverance. I want to take you back just a moment. You mentioned vision casting. I'm going to go off camera. I want
Yeah.
you to tell someone all about that and just really if they have a dream, how do they I guess the big word today is manifest, but
Yeah.
how do they go from wanting something to visioning it? How could they use that process for that? And I just want to give you space. I want them to hear you. So
That's great. I appreciate the question. Thank you. Um, and I'll say if you're a person today who maybe doesn't know what your purpose is, maybe you don't know what things you want to do, I would encourage you to start journaling. I would encourage you to start writing down just random words that come to mind and see what excites you. See the things that bring you joy. See the things that are sparking you. And then as you follow that, just allow your mind to picture yourself doing those things. And allow yourself, no matter what things you think might keep you from doing it, allow yourself to picture yourself. If it's speaking, if it's acting, I mean, you may want to be in the theater, you may want to be an artist, you may want to be an author. Picture yourself doing those things. And the key is, as you picture yourself, don't worry about the how will I get there. Don't worry about anything. Picture yourself being there, because you have to become something in your mind before you become something physically. So once you picture yourself there, live in that, lean into that excitement, because that's the ignition switch that lights up your passion. That is what brings about your dreams right there. So I encourage you to vision cast, picture yourself doing these things. Don't let yourself feel silly. Don't let yourself feel like it's make believe. because every manifestation that we live starts with a thought. It starts with something that we consider, maybe we could do that. And then we put those thoughts into vision and that vision into action. Whether it's your career, whether it's your relationships, whether it's the house you lived in, at some point you had a thought. And that thought led you to an action. And that action led you to the life you're living right now. You can do that with your passions too. You can do that with your dreams too. So yeah, that's my encouragement for you is to allow yourself to picture it, allow yourself to envision it. It's not make believe, especially once it comes true. And then imagine that you are already living that life. I'm working on getting in shape right now. It's very important to me. I've lost over 100 pounds. And so where I it has been
I got to come on and
it's
congratulate you
been
for
a
that.
lot.
That's awesome, man.
Exactly. But what I still
Yeah.
do, like my whole point is in my mind, is to picture myself healthy, is to picture myself not skinny per se. I wasn't built to be skinny. I ain't fooling myself or anyone else, but I was built to be healthy. And I picture myself being healthy. I envision that. And so I'm living the life of a healthy John Street. And so that's what you have to do. Envision what you want to be and then be it. Live that life. And I tell you what you desire desires you too. The scripture says that God gives us the desires of our heart. I believe that means he places those seeds within us and then they grow, they expand. God is ever expanding, which means we should ever be expanding. And so chase those dreams, lean into those dreams and be it. Start living. What do you look like when you're a famous author? What does your day look like? What do you look like when you're a famous actor? What does your day look like? And just lean into it. Be that person.
Absolutely. I absolutely love this. I do. I'm working on about 4 books right now, John.
Wow.
And it it's following that process. You're just saying, I love that picture and then envision. There's two different thoughts there.
Hmm.
One is a picture of what it looks like for someone else almost, and then envisioning is putting yourself right there.
It's ownership. You're
Yeah,
exactly right. It's ownership for me in this. Yes.
that's it. Last year when I was preparing for Carnegie Hall, one of the things that I did is I did a
Kudos to you, by
concert.
the way.
Thank you.
That's amazing that you performed at Carnegie Hall. I love
Thank you.
that.
But I wanted to be ready. I wanted to own it, like you're saying. So what I did is I offered a free public concert every week, it was in the summer of last
Mhm.
year, in June or something. And I did one every single week until the performance. And that's what I was doing. I was envisioning myself in those moments there at Carnegie Hall. I had the image locked in. I knew where I would be. And so in that hour, I wasn't at my church or wherever I was giving the concert and it was Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock every single week. Instead, I was at Carnegie Hall already. I'd already spent hours and hours there preparing. And people, if I'd tried to explain it, I don't know they would have gotten it.
Mhm.
That's exactly what I was doing is envisioning myself in that moment.
Mhm. It's powerful. It's powerful. You envisioned yourself, you had the thought at some point. Maybe you were a kid. I wonder how old you were the first time you thought, wouldn't it be amazing if I played a recital at Carnegie Hall? Do you remember when that thought was the first time?
I never even had that goal, John. That
You're
was
kidding. You couldn't even
That was
imagine it.
never a goal. You got to realize I loved piano. I went to an old country Methodist church in Alabama. Okay. I would go stand next to the pianist and I was mesmerized.
Wow.
And the other kids at that church, they all played piano. And that's part of my journey. When my mom passed away, I was 9. I was almost 10 when I started lessons. And I finally got to play and I was ready to go because I had been in waiting all of those years because I started standing next to the piano when I was 3 or 4. So imagine to a kid, that's a lifetime of wanting to play
Hmm.
and thinking that everyone else played, like everybody's got to play. I want to play. And so it can be that when we finally get released to do what we have been created to do,
Hmm.
we're going to attack it with passion and we're going to absorb it. So as you
Love that.
envision whatever it is, it may not be the piano, it may not be writing a book, but whatever you're visioning today, John and I both believe you can do it. You have the capacity, you have the power to set yourself free and to give yourself the tools you need to succeed today. I believe that God plays a big part of it. He's created us each so uniquely and with so many gifts. And it would be a travesty if the world didn't get to experience yours because you never developed it. Practicing piano took a lot of time. It took work. You mentioned you've put in work. These things, although they may be what we're created to do, they don't always come easy. They don't always come without price. And sometimes we have to dive in, we have to dig in, and we have to make choices when we're going after our passions because schedules don't line up. If you have a schedule that's already jam-packed, you're going to have to take things out of it to make your dream come true. And a lot of times you're scheduling things for things you're just doing to fill time anyway, if we can be
Hmm.
really honest there. So when you go for your passion, don't be apologetic. Be
Hmm.
nice, but don't apologize. Say,
Hmm.
this is my time. I'm ready to soar.
Hmm.
And you will. Believe you will. Envision you will. And you shall. So
Exactly.
yeah. Well, John,
This
I only
day.
got a couple more minutes here, but anything else you want to encourage our folks with today?
I'll just say this. I love that you use the word release. And I believe that there are people who have been waiting to be released. And I believe that all they have to do is let it happen.
Yep.
Like maybe you're like one of those old toy cars that are pulled back and you're ready to go. Well, I feel like in this moment that you're going to feel that release and it's time for you to go.
It
It's
is.
time for you to move.
It is. The one of my favorite quotes, John, is shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you're gonna land among the stars. And that can be so cliche,
Mhm.
but we can also own that.
Yeah.
That's my hope is that I always shoot for the moon. I don't always make it, but when my heart go out and my passion goes out, it's never returned void. And
Mhm.
that is what is key. And along the way of our journey, when we fail, when there's something we really want and we fail, people watch how we respond to failure. And maybe our biggest encouragement and motivation can be how we respond whenever we fail or when life gets tough or when this vision and dream we have aren't so easy. People will watch our perseverance and how
Yeah,
we,
what do we do when it's not as fun anymore? Like, how
yeah,
do we handle that?
right. But I think you'll be one. People have seen you journey. They've seen you go, they've seen you grow. And as they see you go into a new season, that's also an encouragement for those people who watch you, who trust you and love you, John, is that you're showing them they can also step into new shoes.
Mhm.
So,
So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
absolutely.
And the same goes for you and for Greg and Mark in this podcast. I appreciate what you guys are doing, just putting out from the book to the podcast to everything that you're doing, trying to make the world a lighter place amongst the darkness. And that is so
Well,
needed today. And
thank
thank you very much for doing
Thank
that.
you. And thanks for being here today. I had a fantastic time with you, and I am really looking forward to hearing all about your new book. I can't wait to see your website, and we'll have you back on now that our viewers have gotten to know you. When those things are happening, let us know, and we'll have you back on so you can celebrate. We can celebrate with you. And let's just keep up this conversation of empowerment and encouragement. Remember, guys, we need to spread hope because when we spread hope, we inspire change. I'm Nick Patterson. We've had my good new friend John Street on with us today. It's been a blessing. It's been a pleasure. Now go change your world. Put light where there is darkness and give people some hope.
Mhm.